Right, good morning everybody and welcome to today's webinar, our Learn to Swim webinar on water exercise and swimming with multiple sclerosis. We are sponsored by the Institute of Swimming for all of our webinars. Emily, if you could go on to the next slide please. So just an introduction, I'm Ruth Edwards, I'm Learn to Swim Manager for the South West and I'm there to support swim schools with their delivery and help with things like pool programming and give them any support that they need. On the webinar today, we have Emily from the MS Society who's going to be delivering our main topic, and we have Elaine from Swim England's Health and Wellbeing team who's just going to go through some health and wellbeing information. Over to Emily.
Okay, hi there. So again, my name is Emily Louise. I'm the MS Physical Activity Specialist at the MS Society. I don't practice as a physical therapist or a physiotherapist in the UK. However, I do have a doctorate degree in physical therapy from the US, and I'm still licensed in the state of Oregon. And like many of you, I'm actually a former aquatic professional. I was a lifeguard, swim instructor. I taught water fitness as a water fitness instructor trainer. And one of the reasons I became a physical therapist is many of my clients in my water fitness classes were actually in physical therapy. So I decided to go back and become a physical therapist. So today I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about the physiology of multiple sclerosis, some common barriers that someone might experience to physical activity, the benefits of water exercise. I'll highlight a little bit of research, and I'd love to tell you guys about the MS Society and specifically our helpline and how we can help. Okay, so MS is a neurological condition that affects over 2 million people worldwide and over 130,000 people in the UK. Symptoms usually start in the 20s and 30s, but diagnosis can take years. Frequent symptoms can include visible symptoms such as walking problems, as well as invisible symptoms like fatigue and bladder problems. So MS affects the central nervous system, which is made up of the brain, the spinal cord, and the eyes. The central nervous system is composed of billions of neurons or nerve cells. Okay, nerve cells are responsible for transmitting messages around the body. Messages come to the cell body, travel along the nerve fiber, and are transmitted to other neurons across a synapse. Nerve fibers are protected by a special fatty substance called myelin. In MS, it's the myelin that's damaged. So MS is an autoimmune condition where the immune cells in our body enter the brain and spinal cord and mistake the myelin for a foreign substance and then attack it. Myelin damage slows down and disrupts messages sent along the nerve fiber. And depending on where this damage occurs in the brain and spinal cord, this can lead to a variety of symptoms that were listed on that previous slide. And sometimes our bodies can repair the myelin, but not always. When the body loses its ability to repair myelin, the nerve fiber itself is exposed and can become damaged. And then I don't want to spend too much time talking about the science and the physiology of MS, but I do think it's important that you know that there are some different types of MS. The most common type is relapsing remitting MS, where the symptoms might increase with a relapse and then go into a period of remission or partial remission, so a period of recovery. And then other forms of MS are more progressive. And then I'd like you to know what researchers are doing as far as working on ways to stop MS. So they're working on immunomodulation, so stopping the immune attacks from happening. They're working on replacing lost myelin or remyelination. And then they're working on protecting the nerve cells from further damage or neuroprotection. So our vision is that a combination of these three strategies will be able to slow or stop the progression of MS. Okay, so let's move on and talk about some common barriers to physical activity. So these might be pain and balance, proprioception, which shows your body's ability to kind of know where it is in space, and sensation, temperature control, which I'll talk a little bit more about on the next slide, accessibility, equipment, cognition, and fatigue. So I know that you guys are all well versed in accessibility, but some questions that someone with MS might ask if their mobility is affected from MS is, they might ask, is the cost worth the benefit? So, getting to the pool, getting dressed in the changing room, and then getting from the changing room out to the pool might use up a lot of energy. And so is that, they might want to weigh the benefits. Is that going to be worth it in terms of the fatigue of just getting ready to get into the pool? They might want to know, is the pool accessible? They might want to know, how safe will it be for me to walk from the locker room to the pool? And where can I put my assistive device? Will the pool deck be wet and slippery? And so, it's important to think about someone whose mobility might be affected from their MS. If they're walking at home or out in the community, that might be much different than that short walk from the locker room to the pool deck, because now they might have removed an orthotic device that they normally wear, if the pool deck is slippery, or if they maybe it's not feasible to use their assistive device. So these are all things that somebody might consider. Okay, so I want to briefly talk about Utops Phenomenon. So when building an exercise or swimming program for people with MS, we might need to consider that some people experience Utops Phenomenon, which is a temporary increase in their symptoms when the body heats up. So some people just might need to modify their exercise program so that they stay cool. Okay. And then overall here at the MS Society, we want to support people with MS to participate in activities that they enjoy. So if they enjoy swimming and water exercise, we think that's fantastic. Some unique benefits to exercising in the water for someone with MS might include temperature control, because if someone is experiencing Utops Phenomenon with exercising on land, they might be able to actually stay a little bit cooler in the water. In the water, you all know that you can challenge the balance system in a much safer environment, because obviously if you take a fall, it's a much softer fall than falling on land. It's low impact. It can be very accessible and inclusive. I love to tell my clients that, if you're nervous about attending a water fitness class, don't be, because no one can tell what's happening under the water, right? So if you need to work at your own pace, or you miss a move by the instructor, no one's actually going to notice. So it can be very inclusive. And then sometimes people might find that they can get an increased breathing rate. So they might be able to get their speed up in the water a bit more and challenge the cardiovascular system than they would on land. So an example of that is it was water walking. So if someone with MS is experiencing some mobility issues from their MS, it might be difficult to get the walking speed up enough to challenge the cardiovascular system, where in the water, you might actually be able to do that. Okay, so I made this chart just to talk a little bit about exercise in the water for the general population and people with MS. So just some ideas here. So if your goal is to work the cardiovascular system, you guys are the experts here. So this is not an exhaustive list, but again, just some ideas. There's lap swimming, water walking, interval training, water aerobics, strengthening exercises where you're using maybe a lower resistance and higher repetition, and of course, deep water exercise. And we always just refer to the NHS guideline, which is 150 minutes a week of moderate intensity activity or 75 minutes per week of vigorous intensity activity. And then moving down the chart here, if you're working on joint mobility or range of motion, This is likely going to be done in a standing or seated position in the water. So you have a solid base of support and you can really focus on the joint that you want to work. Don't forget about the ankles, toes, and fingers. So a specific thing that you could consider if someone has a condition called foot drop, they have a difficult time lifting the foot, so dorsiflexing the ankle against gravity, they might actually be able to do that in the water, because obviously now the effects of gravity are going to be much different. And so moving down to balance, some ways to challenge the balance system. You could do water walking, standing with single leg stance or tandem stance, and you can reach outside of out of your base of support. Again, you know, it's much safer to do this in the water than on land. And then some strengthening activities. Again, you guys are the experts here. It's been a long time since I've taught a water fitness class, but just some equipment ideas, finned gloves, pull buoys, noodles, dumbbells, or even weights. And if you look at the NHS guideline there, it's just working the major muscle groups at least twice a week. And then some functional activities that you can do in the water might include walking, squats, which can help with a sit to stand activity. So, you know, keeping the legs strong for getting up and down out of a chair, stepping over objects, breathing and relaxation. And then you could even instruct your classes or your participants to work the pelvic floor muscles in a water fitness class. Okay. And then, again, this is not an exhaustive list, and please remember that everyone is different. But just some possible modifications that someone might desire for a swimming lesson could include a choice on temperature. So if you have multiple pools at your facility, maybe you could have the option of working in the warmer therapy pool or the cooler lap swimming pool. Someone might want to keep a bottle of ice water on the pool deck. They might want some rest breaks and a dry, safe path to the pool and convenient storage for assistive devices. Additional equipment for balance and buoyancy. And then if someone is experiencing cognition issues related to their MS, they might want extended time to learn a new task or some modifications for memory, and maybe minimal distractions. I know that you are all used to being inclusive of people with learning differences, so you could think about some similar strategies that could work here. Maybe an example of that is if you're going to teach a swimming lesson and you're going to be introducing several different strokes, maybe consider shortening the lesson and introducing maybe one stroke. So an example would be, let's say you're going to instruct someone in breaststroke, maybe a shorter lesson in the pool, offer them some time to work independently, and then you could even send them home with some homework to reinforce the learning. So maybe some visualization exercises with that pull, breathe, kick, glide routine that we all know by heart, or maybe you have some videos that they could watch at home just to reinforce the learning. And then remember that you're catering to the individual and not the condition. Okay, so I just wanted to briefly talk about some research specific to MS and water exercise. So there was a randomized controlled trial that found that an 8-week aquatic exercise program improved balance, functional capacity, and fatigue in women with MS. It was a small sample size, but I think because they used some valid measurement tools here, it's worth considering this randomized control trial. And then also, I just wanted to highlight there was a systematic review that explored the effectiveness of aquatic therapy for decreased fatigue and improved quality of life for people with MS. And they found that full body aquatic physical therapy interventions led to increased function and increased reported quality of life and some evidence for decreased fatigue. And then when we're thinking about just general exercise, so not just aquatic exercise, we do know that general exercise and activity can help with mood, mobility, muscle strength, decreased risk of heart disease, and fatigue. And there is fairly strong evidence for helping with fatigue. All right, so I'd like you guys to know a little bit about the MS Society. We've been around since 1953. We fund research, and we want people with MS to live well. And in the middle of a global pandemic, we are here to help. Our helpline has an easy number here, 0808-800-8000. You can reach me on the helpline. We have responded to over 16,000 inquiries last year, and we provide support and information, including information on physical activity. You can also check out our website. We have lots of information on our website right now on coping with social distancing and isolation during this lockdown. We also have some fantastic videos on our website. We have a whole Pilates series, a yoga series, an Active Together series. We have some exercises with a physio that are specific for MS symptoms, and we have a fatigue management course. And then if you'd like more information about the MS Society and how you can get involved, you can call our support or care team. All right, and then when things return to normal, we're all going to be dancing on the pool decks. And I just want you to know that our helpline will still be here, so you can reach us at that number. We hope that our local groups will be back up and running. Our videos will still be available on our website. I think our videos are a great complement to an aquatic exercise program. And we'd like to know what you are doing to support people with MS, because we provide information to our community. So if you have information about your pools, your equipment, or some classes that might positively affect people with MS, we would love to know about it. And I really like this author and public speaker and disability rights activist, Jonathan Mooney, who said, folks don't have disability, they experience disability in environments that are not accessible and inclusive. And then just a few references there. And then any questions?
Thank you very much, Emily. That was brilliant. We've got a comment and also a question as well. So from Inna, she says, her aquafit client with MS prefers deep water instead of shallow water exercise. So I'm guessing that's due to less impact, perhaps.
Again, it's going to be up to the individual. You know, if your client prefers deep water and you can provide that, and I think that's fantastic.
Brilliant. Okay. And the question we had, have you got a link or the name of the studies? So those studies that were mentioned, the research studies.
Yeah. So there, the second one's going to be challenging to find because that one was presented at a chapter section meeting for physical therapy in the States. But the first one might be a little bit easier to find. And then the third one down is just a continuing ed course. Cool. Or clinical review for a continuing ed course.
Lovely, thank you. Okay, what does local support look like for people with MS?
Well, we normally have our local groups. So sometimes these local groups have social activities or exercise classes, but right now I do not believe that they're running right now with the pandemic. So that's all the information I have on that right now, but definitely please check out our website.
Cool, fantastic. Okay, so it doesn't look like there's, how can we find our local groups? Would that be through the MS website?
Yeah, you could call the helpline, either way. Yeah, my colleagues on the helpline are fantastic. The wealth of information on local groups and how to find them.
Brilliant, excellent. Okay, well, it looks like that's the last of the questions that have come through for the moment. So if we move on to Elaine's presentation on health and wellbeing, I'll continue to monitor the chat box, and if you've got any further questions, please do ask, because Emily will be on until the end of the webinar.
hopefully you can all see the screen with the presentation on.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Excellent, excellent. My name is Elaine McNish. I'm Head of Health and Wellbeing at Swim England. And what I'm going to do over the next few slides, there's not very many, is just to make you aware of our water wellbeing programme, which before lockdown was operating in around 50 pools. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of where it's come from and how it works, basically. Oops. Just trying to move it on. There we go. So, give you a little bit of history. About in 2017, from direction slightly to emphasize the importance of health and well-being and the importance of getting those who are more inactive active, we as a body decided to commission a review of the evidence around swimming and health. And by swimming, we included wider aquatic activity as well. The picture there is of the document. It's quite a weighty document, and it was very robustly undertaken with academics. It's got a number of different chapters, but the key findings for us, which I suppose didn't come as a surprise, but it's always good to have it to back up your thinking, and also it enabled us to see the strength of some of the evidence, was around how wonderful the water is for people with health conditions, which most of you are probably more than aware of, but it's always good to have the evidence to back that up. And we decided to take a look at this then and see, well, what can we do in terms of creating programs to capitalize on this and to work with both health and operators to essentially put in place a program that would support people with long-term conditions into the pool and be able to access those benefits. So we've been doing a bit of research around to getting them into the pool, and it was many of the things that were alluded to and were talked about in the last presentation came out in our research. So it's not any surprise, and it's good to see there's that consistency. And essentially, we came up with what we call our frontier model, which is looking at the whole customer journey of getting into the pool. So the frontier one, we say it's about increasing swimming's visibility and relevance. And it's really everything that happens before you even get to the pool. So are the individuals being targeted with the right information? Are we getting to the individuals that we're trying to target? Do we need to link in with people like the local help groups to help signpost people into the pool and to give them that reassurance that the pool is the right place for them to be? Is there a good transport system to the pool that they can access, and so forth? And is car parking available? And all those things that are about that accessibility to getting to the pool. Frontier 2 really looks at the swimming environment once you get to the front desk of the pool. Is there good signposting? And we've done quite a lot of work around that, and signposting is really important to people. How confusing are locker systems? I struggle with locker systems at the best of times, and some of them, they're all different when you go into different pools. So how easy is it for people to use? How friendly are the staff? And do they understand my needs when I ask what is required and what my condition is and how I can be supported? And then the final area is what actually happens when you get into the pool. Is there an opportunity that is tailored to my needs and suits my needs, and with the right person who understands my needs and is able to adapt their teaching to support me? So we utilised this model, and the first programme that we developed was focused on dementia-friendly swimming. And we had funding from the Department of Health to do that, and we learned some very valuable lessons from dementia-friendly swimming. and some lovely case studies on how it impacted on people's lives. And we'd had funding for 3 years, and we kind of got to the end of the 3 years, and we went, people were saying to us, if you get it right for dementia, you probably get it right for supporting a lot of other people as well. And so off the back of that, we developed what we now call our Water Wellbeing Programme. And this is a sort of summary of how it operates. The key to this is that it's tailored to meet the needs of the sites, depending on what the sites have been working on, what links they've had, what areas of interest they have. And so my team goes in, and the first thing they do is meet with the sites and try and understand what's already happening there, and how accessible the pools are, and what programs are already in place. And they work jointly to develop an action plan with the areas of priority to work on. One of the key areas that they look at is training for customers around customer service. And up until recently, we've been doing this face, but we worked with the Activity Alliance and now have an online version of inclusive customer service. So that allows people to understand the needs of people with health conditions and with impairments and disabilities, and also how you support those individuals, and things to think about when a customer comes and asks you questions or needs support. So I recommend that training to you. Is available for our water wellbeing sites at a reduced price, but you can also access it online anyway through the Activity Alliance website. The second thing we do, and this is really important, is about getting the pool environment right, is we undertake an audit. And this can be done, either the pool can do this themselves, but some have benefited with the team, member of the team going around and making some suggestions. And often these suggestions aren't massive, they're just small things like signposting, moving furniture around so it's not in the right place, looking at colour schemes in lockers and things like that. So it can be small things that make a big difference. And we make some recommendations around that area. And then we have the opportunities. And really we've got sort of 4 areas that we've been working with. The first is pool pods. If you've not come across pool pods, they basically look like a lift into the pool. That's the best way I can describe them. If you Google them, you'll find some information on them. They're a far more dignified entry to system to the water than some others, because you can use them in some operators allow you to use them yourself. And it's a platform that you stand on, or if you are in a wheelchair, there are specific wheelchairs for you to be able to use to get into the water. So we worked with Pool Pod, and we had funding for 20 sites actually across the UK. But part of this was also making sure that it's not just about that field of dreams, you build it and they will come. It's about getting everything else around it so that people are able to get into the pool and the pool is accessible. So that's the first area. Second area is around exercise referral, because we know that a lot of operators are running exercise referral schemes, but it's predominantly dry land activities that are being delivered. So we developed a training called Aquatic Activity for Health, which enables exercise referral street teachers to train to deliver a tailored exercise program in the water. And alongside that, we've produced waterproof cards that people can use and download to give different ideas on exercises. The third area is Learn to Swim. We've got online training for swim teachers around our swim framework, and we've also produced some guidance on how to adapt swimming teaching for different health conditions. That's just being reviewed at the moment, and we're hoping the new version will be out sometime later in the year, and will be available for sale. At the moment, it's only available for water wellbeing sites. And then the final area is a system called Good Boost. And Good Boost uses artificial intelligence to give tailored exercise programs to individuals. And I'll show you a slide in a minute about how that works and talk a bit more about that. The team provides ongoing support once programs are up and running. And we also are collecting data to show some of the benefits of what we're doing, and we're getting some lovely case studies from the sites. I know, looking at the list of people who are on, I know some of you are already delivering this, and I really thank you for sharing the stories of participants. Is making a huge difference to people's lives. People are saying to us that for the first time they've been able to be physically active because they really struggle to be active on dry land, and being in the water is a really safe and appropriate place and a fun place for them to be in. So we know that it's having an impact, and we really value you sharing those stories with us. As I mentioned, Good Boost, this is just some pictures to show how it works. You'll see from the first picture that everybody has their own tablet on the side of the pool in a waterproof case, and you put in your details and information, and that uses the artificial intelligence to develop you an exercise program. You then log in and you get pictures that show you how to do the exercises. There are facilitators on the side of the pool to help out, who help with showing you how to do the exercises, and also facilitating some sort of joint activities so people can interact as well. Once you've completed your exercise, you're asked about how you felt, how much pain you were in, and that goes into the system to then use that to amend and update the program as it goes on. So we've been piloting that in a number of pools, and once we get post-lockdown, we will be continuing that and expanding the number of pools that we're working in. The company that does Good Boost is also looking at a dry side app for the moment as well, so we're hoping that will be out soon, and looking at other opportunities for using this artificial intelligence with specific groups. At the moment, it predominantly is being used for people with musculoskeletal problems, but we're looking at programs for pregnant women as well. We've got a large number of partners that we work with, because this is about making sure that what we do is fit for purpose. And that is vital to this. So, for example, we've worked just one of the charities really closely with versus arthritis. We've produced toolkits so that we market, arthritis can market to their clients on the website. We've done a peer support project with them, and with all of these, they've all been involved in delivering webinars as well. So we thank Emily particularly today for her input into this, because it's really important we raise awareness so that people understand the needs of the client groups that we're trying to get to. So that's just a little bit of a sort of sharing of what the Water Wellbeing programme. I don't know if anyone's got any questions that they would like to ask at this point in time.
Hey Elaine, we've definitely got some comments. What I would say is, anybody who particularly wants to get involved with the Water Wellbeing project, if they could email me back. So
or else if you want to directly, if you email health@swimming.org, I will pick up on those comments, on those emails directly, and get in contact with you.
Brilliant.
That might be an easier route.
Fantasy, yeah, perfect. But if anybody doesn't pick up that email, if they send it through to me, then I'll forward it onto the health team. So that health@swimming.org email address. So Jenny, I know you've messaged me privately. If you want to go through to health@swimming, and then that can be followed up directly with that team. So Karina's mentioned there's a person who's never been to a pool, doesn't know what to do after they pay, and they don't even understand what a swim session is. So they've got limited times, needs to be addressed. So potentially, you know, they might have an hour slot.
Yes.
So basically assuming there's no knowledge of the pool or anything associated with walking past reception. So yeah, they're going to need extra support.
Yeah, I mean, some of the things that the pools, when we were working with dementia friendly swimming, did was so online they've got video guides of how you navigate your way through the pool, which have been really helpful. Others produce them as picture guides as well. So we're encouraging pools to continue with those things, because they can be very confusing places, pools, and they're all different, with different ins and outs and different locker systems. So yeah, definitely it's something that's needed.
Brilliant. G's asked, so there's a course that is only available for fitness instructors. Why can't swimming teachers do this course? And she thinks there's a lot of swimming teachers who would really benefit from it.
Yeah. So the aquatic activity for health is only for fitness instructors, because they have what was, although they all keep changing the qualifications, a level 3 exercise referral, because that means they will have had all the knowledge about the different health conditions. Now we're in the process at the end of the year of looking at a CPD for swim teachers that will bring together all the information around how to support people with health conditions. So that is in the offing, and we will obviously keep your eyes peeled, but if you want to know information about that, let us know and we'll make sure you're on the list when we let people know when it's available.
Lovely. Helen's commented, so with our GP referrals, we work closely with the gym coordinator, and we use the pool for some sessions if the customer feels this is better for them. So that's good practice.
Yeah, really good. Yeah.
What would be?
I don't know if your instructors have looked at the aquatic activity for health. Obviously, it's not being delivered at the moment, but I would recommend take a look at it. It is different from teaching aqua aerobics. It's about how do you tailor and understand the needs of individuals with health conditions.
Lovely. What would be the principle with regards to physical guidance, so safety on physical touch for those affected physically with MS?
Emily, do you want to
quite sure I exactly understand the question, but if you're talking about maybe assisting someone with walking on the pool deck, I mean, it would just be up to the individual. So if you think about your general population that comes to the pool, anyone who has any issues with mobility, you would do the same. I'm assuming you would just ask the individual.
Yeah, I would say that as well. And you know, your first thing with kind of support in the pool is, you know, what can you do to give them independent support? So things like noodles, but then if they need like additional support, you know, you ask them if they're happy for you to support them in a particular way. That kind of goes for most disabilities, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it may be, I mean, just to consider what may happen post-lockdown, we may all need to look at how we adapt our teaching if we have to maintain social distancing and so forth. And it's something that we're taking a look at the moment in terms of trying to understand what the needs might be post-lockdown in terms of whatever level of social distancing may be continued even when the pools are back open. So the good thing about being in the pool is that the cleaning systems in the pool do kill the virus off, so it's one of the safer places to be, but obviously there are other considerations around hygiene and standards and so forth within the changing areas and other areas around the pool that will obviously be quite vital to take a look at.
Ellie's asked, could I do the course as a swimming teacher and an occupational therapist?
If you come back to me on that one, that's possible because of your occupational therapy qualification. I just need to double check what the requirements for the qualification are. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head around those who have health professional qualifications.
that'll be the same for Julie, who's asked about her coaching course as well. So if you could email the health@swimming.org email address, and then can clarify for you there.
Yeah,
the
qualifications run by the Institute of Swimming, so I will make sure speak to them and find out the exact criteria.
Brilliant, excellent. Right, doesn't look like we've had anything else come through. So just a last port of call then, I just want to thank Emily and Elaine very much for delivering today's webinar. It's very informative, got lots of really good information which hopefully you can take back to your pools and start to instigate once we reopen. As I said before, so you will get an email follow up with the recording and also the presentation as well. So you should have that in your inboxes either today or tomorrow. In the meantime, if you've got any questions, please email health@swimming.org and they'll be able to follow up with you directly.